Good afternoon to you, colleagues, friends, and honored guests. It's 3:35. I'm calling this meeting to order. We're a little behind schedule because of other meetings, but thank you for being here. Now, we're here in the Henry Cook room of the City Hall at St. James, which is not accidental for us to be in this room. Henry Winfred Cook was a man, and Matt, I know you knew him very well, as did I, who reminds us about thoughtful public service and what that looks like. Henry spent nearly 20 years working for the city of Jacksonville as an employee before going on to be an elected official and later becoming a two-time council president. Now, his leadership also extended beyond the city of Jacksonville, as he was the president of the Florida League of Cities in 1985 and went on to lead the National League of Cities in 1986. Now, he believed in something very special, that every municipal leader is a part of the democratic experiment. He believed in the reality of what we do. Now, I feel a real big connection to Mr. Cook, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have my meeting in this room. I serve at the pleasure of the mayor on the League of Cities board of directors right now, and the work we do is consequential, but Jacksonville being the largest city in this state, we set the tone. But another reason that we gather here is because just across the hall in the city council chambers, where the formal decisions of this body are made, one of the things I think that's most important is that relationships are formed, ideas are sharpened, and that's where leadership really begins in moving our city forward. Leadership doesn't begin when the gavel falls, or it doesn't just begin with trust, it doesn't just begin with conversation, but it begins in belief, in the simple shared belief that even when we disagree, we can still move forward together. Now, I want to thank my colleagues who took the time to be here today, all of you. Your presence means an absolute great deal to me because I know how busy our schedules are, especially on Council Day. But I hope that in time, over the next 8 weeks or so, that I can earn your confidence, your trust, and ultimately your vote to serve as the next vice president of the Jacksonville City Council for the 26-27 year. I'd also like to recognize the other candidates in this race and thank you for helping us to elevate the conversation. Councilmember Chris Miller, your work as Inspector General and your military largesse reflect a discipline and a commitment to accountability, and I'm honored to be in this field with you. Councilmember Joe Carlucci, my dear friend who I've known for years and years and years, we worked closely for the past 3 years on the Land Use and Zoning Committee. And Joe, you bring thoughtfulness and patience to a lot of difficult decisions that we have to make. And finally, Councilmember Ken Amaro, who I've probably known the longest of anybody in this group. Ken obviously spent decades informing the community in his work as a journalist and even inspired me to be an anchor and a reporter. But our paths crossed when I was just a baby. Ken worked with my mom in broadcasting at the radio station, and so I got to know him really well as kind of Uncle Ken. And then as life would have it, I ended up being his daughter's middle school English teacher at La Villa School of the Arts. So it's interesting how the world comes full circle. But those connections that I shared remind me of something important, that we're a family. And Jacksonville is a family, especially the Jacksonville City Council. But families debate, they challenge one another, and sometimes they disagree about the path forward. But families share a commitment to the future that they are building together. See, every person in this race, and certainly on this council, loves Jacksonville, or they wouldn't be here. And that shared love allows us to engage in serious debate while remembering that the work itself is larger than any one of us individually. Now, I come to this moment shaped by mentors and leaders, people who believed in the service of what we do in Jacksonville. Leaders like Warren Jones, who once shared with me as a young man that public service will test your patience, it will test your character, it will even test your faith in people. But the real trick is remembering why you started in the first place. Leaders like Betty Holzendorf, who expanded the possibilities of what leadership could look like in Jacksonville at a time when women were trying to find their place. I'm also grateful for leaders like a friend who has just passed on, Terry Fields, who reminded me that government was never about policy alone, but every decision that's made is about people. I'm grateful for all of those lessons. And my own journey into this building carries personal meaning. You know, I think back, and I've told this story often about my mother, Rahman Johnson, who during her childhood would come to this very same building to buy dresses with my grandmother. And of course, at the time, they would not let them in the front door. They would have to come into the back door at night to buy a dress. But I walk into this same building every day, and I remember that story, at the seat of power of what it takes to move this community. And it shows me that things have changed, and it makes me remember and understand that things will evolve if we keep believing. You see, they believed so that Jacksonville could be something greater. And today, I stand here not only because of some personal effort, but because of the sacrifices and courage and belief of the people that came before me. Now, what I know from being in church is when the choir sings, because it's a choir, nobody can sing alone. When the congregation lifts his voice higher, we all have to be lifting voices together. And that's what progress is. It's never an individual act. It's always collective. That's why that spirit has guided me through each and every decision I've made on this council. That work reminds me in the past 3 years from working to address housing barriers so more families can have opportunity, to navigating complex land use issues, to helping shape neighborhoods. All of those things require collaboration. That's why we have noticed meetings, so that we can sit down, talk to each other, but most importantly, listen to each other and then make an intelligent decision. And that is what the leadership challenge is all about. That's how we become the best of who we are as a city. If we can believe in us and fulfill that, the possibilities are endless. Now, the role of leadership, of course, is to help provide and move possibility into progress. And over the coming weeks, I look forward to meeting with each and every one of you colleagues, to sit down with you individually in a noticed meeting, if you wish, but to ask you the questions and to listen to the answers, to hopefully not just shore up your trust, but to earn your vote. That's why today I will not be giving out pledge forms, but over the next 8 weeks or so, I hope to meet with you so that you feel comfortable enough to know that you are voting for the right candidate. Now, I want to say something. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, Coach Sheila Pennick, and you might know her. She was on that national championship Reebok girls basketball team. She was the coach. And she said something to me that stuck with me. And I usually had this saying from Bernard Gregory, if you did what you always did, you do get what you always got. But she put it into perspective for me with her girls. Coach Pennick said to me, I told my girls that 90% of you must be AB honor roll students. I told them that you must look a certain way when you're in school. I told them their hair had to be groomed. And some of their parents were like, well, what does that have to do with basketball? But she said something that I believe speaks to this moment. If you want to get what you never got, you got to do what you never done. And that's why I'm running this campaign differently. Some people may look and say, why do you have logos, and why are you playing music, and why are you doing this? Because we got to do something different. We are a different Jacksonville. We are not the Jacksonville that was before. We are standing at the precipice of a moment to move this city forward. And so as your vice president, as I believe that I will be a connector with our president in doing the things that we do to ensure that we are all connected, but most importantly, we feel connected through stronger unity and a collective work and responsibility. So if we want a community, or if we want a council, if we want a Jacksonville worthy of our children and our grandchildren, we must govern with courage, humility, and most importantly, collaboration. So let's lead together, let's believe together, let's work forward together, and understand that when we do, the council will rise, the city will rise, but most importantly, we will rise. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And I would ask at this point, if council members, you can introduce yourselves so that we have your names on the record. And after that, I will entertain any questions. We can start with you, former Council President Carlucci.
Matt Carlucci, Group 4 at Large.
Jacoby Pittman, District 10, the Mega District.
Raw Areas, District 11.
Ken Amara, District 1.
Oh, thank you. Reggie Gaffney, District 8.
Nick Allen, at large, Group 3. Kevin Carrico, District 4.
Chris Miller, at large, Group 5. Ron Salem, Group 2 at large.
Good afternoon, Michael Brennan, District 6.
Randy White, District 12.
Terrence Freeman, at large, Group 1.
Will Lane in District 3.
Thank you, colleagues. And any questions or comments, we can start now. And by the way, please enjoy. I know we've had a full day, so that's why I wanted to have some snacks. Not enough time for real food, but some snacks and drinks and some tea. So please enjoy.
I'll start off just because I didn't get to speak last time, so I wanted to get in the queue early.
My apologies.
It's okay. It's all right. There's a lot of us here. There was a lot of questions, and it's important. And so I just want to just come here to first congratulate you for your bravery, for stepping out into this race. I've never seen one this crowded. I've been up here. This is my 7th year on the council now. But you mentioned relationships, and we form a lot of relationships up here as people get elected in their classes, or people learn about each other on the campaign trail. It's very documented, my relationship with the mega district. Came to work for Jacoby when I was in my 20s, back Claire White Mission, a long time ago, and I've known Brother Freeman there for a long time. But Councilmember Johnson was a part of that Claire White family. He showed up a lot to help MC and to help raise money, and was very influential in moving the needle with us at the mission. So I got to know you then, and know you as a servant leader and someone who has a heart for this community. And then got to know you a whole lot more when you sat on my LUZ committee for 2 years in a row. So I've seen you work. I know you do the work. You put it in. You do the research. You show up prepared. And you're always in your district, ready to serve. So those are great qualities in leadership, great qualities in a VP. So happy to be here just to hear about your vision. And, it's going to be a tough race, as it's been well documented in the previous meetings. But I'm proud of you, and just keep rolling.
Rockman, that was inspirational. So is the banner, the water, the balloons, the popcorn. Funny story, at the Johnny May Chappelle unveiling of the historical marker, I gave what I thought was probably the best speech I've given on council, and I was walking away, and I was like, oh, man, that was great. I was beaming, I was happy, I was proud of myself, and then Rockman went up there. And, oh, my gosh. My pride was short-lived by about 30 seconds. Because Rockman always knocks it out of the park. And I'm really inspired by your speech. But I was also inspired by Ken's and by Chris's, and I'm sure I would be by Joe's. Kevin and I and Will have to be in an agenda meeting, so we won't be at Joe's meeting. But I just want to reiterate something that Dr. Salem said in the last meeting, and that is we have 4 terrific leaders running. And I think we should be proud. I think this bodes well for the future of our city council. If I'm someone who's running to hopefully be on the next council, I would say, wow, we're going to have strong leadership on this city council for the next 4 or 5 years. So I'm, of course, will not take a position on it, but I just want to say I think we're all in good hands. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Pittman.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm going to say. The first thing, I've done my research. But I want to say, Dr. Johnson, I've known you for a long time, since she was probably like 12 years old, and you've always been grown, right? But I want to say that I've really seen you grow up in the community and the relationships that you have in the community, because for you, it's all about helping people. Even if it's in another district, it is all right. But I want to say that I also see you work outside of the box. And I think, as we look at the opportunity for the leaders that we have for candidates, we're going to look for something different, something that can bring us all together, someone who has strong financial abilities. I don't know anybody other than, he's not in the race, is
Calculator?
there you, yeah, right.
The calculator.
Yes. But knowing that you may not have to have all of the qualities, but you will have the support. And, what's important to me, what matters to the constituents is what matters to me. And so I asked all of the candidates this in terms of a commitment to affordable housing and rental, specifically in District 10, which is part of 7, 8, 9, and 10. And my other concern is the JSAP, making sure that we not just have a committee, but also have a working concept of engaging people and businesses and having them be a part to be able to get contracts. So tell me your vision and how do you plan to do that, because this also is important to the mayor. And I'd like to see some of those incorporations into District 10.
And thank you for that question, Ms. Pittman. And I appreciate your compliments and again, lifelong friendship. I was just having a meeting earlier today with a few of the developers about pad split. Because that's something I'm sure we've all heard of pad split. It's coming. There's a lot of it in my district. And what I want to do, and so it's interesting you bring that up about affordable housing. We were talking about pad split, and I wasn't a fan of it initially. But if there are ways that we can work with a group like that to get people into places and spaces like Wealth Watchers and other organizations so they are primed to buy a house, we're looking at, as you said earlier, out-of-the-box, non-traditional ways to get people taken care of. So that's just one of them. And I hope to, affordable housing, as you know, we've worked together even before coming on the council. A lot of the people that come through the mission or come through, even with you, Boys and Girls Club, a lot of the parents, they need that help. We've worked together, especially those of us in the nonprofit community, to ensure that we're connecting them with the organizations like the Urban League and or Wealth Watchers that can do that. So what I hope to do as a leader on the council is bring more of that in. One of the things I've found out in the last 3 years since I've been elected is there are these silos, especially in the nonprofit community, but even within the city. And like you do your thing over here and I do my thing over there, and neither the twins shall meet. And what I want to do is hopefully find ways to bring the walls down so that your organization is talking to your organization and your department is interfacing with your department. Because if we do that together, that's why I talked about collaboration. If we do it together, number one, we save money. I know that's going to make you happy, Will, but we save money. But number two, and most importantly, we're able to find ways for efficiencies, and that moves things faster. That's what I found out. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's my main kind of push as far as it relates to affordable housing. So I hope that answers your question.
JSEB.
And JSEB, I was on the JSEB committee. Thank you, Council President White. I spent some time working with JSEB. One of the things I'm most proud of, I worked with Administrator Grant on JSEB. I'll tell you, we had an interesting meeting. My first meeting when they came, they had this dog and pony show, so to speak. JSEB came to the office and they said, hey, we've got 44 JSEBs in District 14. Now, as you said, I had already done the research, and I knew that there were 25,000 small businesses in the city of Jacksonville. I knew that there was also about 1,400 specifically that were categorized as small business for JSEBs that were located directly in District 14. There's like 1,500 or so at the time. And they said they had 44. And I said, now that is, when it comes to doing the math, that's statistically insignificant. Since that time, I didn't come at them pointing fingers, though, and saying, why are there not more JSEBs? I'm upset with you. I rolled up my sleeves to do the work. I had meetings in my community where I pulled in JSEBs, and I also worked with Director Grant, and I'm happy to say that through the work that I did specifically, the JSEB program, usually it was like a 9 to 12-page process of signing up to be a JSEB. That entire process is now digital and able to be done online, and that was an idea, and I wrote the program and worked with them to implement it. So JSEB is something near and dear to me, and we are already doing the work. This will just be a continuation.
Thank you.
Former President Carlucci.
Okay, Rockman, we've known each other for a long time. And I want to thank you for putting your hat in the ring. As I've told all the other candidates, and we'll tell the next one, we got good competition because we have good candidates, and that's going to make for a better city council in the future. And to say it stepped up the competition a notch, I mean, just take a look around. This is unbelievable. So good for you. Good for you. Bring excitement. I like that. Look, I always remember when you called me before you filed to run, and you said, do you think this district is a good district for me to run in? And it was the map that the council didn't support, but I did. I was one of the few that did. And I said, Rockman, I think this district is perfect for you. And I'm sure you had called a lot of other people and asked opinions too, but I urged you to run, and I'm sure you had a lot of other people did, and I'm glad that you did. You've got a wonderful heart, Rockman. You got a deep conscience, and you got a warm heart, and you have a tremendous skill of oration. I wish I had your ability to speak, and that ability helps you bring people together, and it helps motivate people. And I think that's a skill that you bring to this council that is invaluable. And I just better turn my phone off here. potential spam is my favorite color. And so I won't be making my mind up for a while. But I just want to encourage you, and I want to thank you for running. You're a good man, and just wish you all the luck in the world, and thank you for bringing such a sense of excitement to this race.
Thank you.
And I don't have any questions for you. I've been very pleased with how you've handled yourself on this council since you've come on.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'll be
Past President Freeman.
I'll be brief. One, I don't know if I was the only person to think this, but when you finished, I almost said, "Let the church say amen," right? And pass the plate. The next thought that I had is I saw those pretty water bottles, and I want to know if they're under $25. Thirsty,
They are.
and I want a drink of water.
Dollar store.
But here's the reality of it. And Councilmember Carlucci, he has an intern here with him as well. I have someone that's shadowing me today, and I told him to be here today because we were having all of these leadership meetings. And I wanted this young man that's sitting out there that's going to play football at Brown and he's going to go on and do some great things in life to see what this looks like. He probably doesn't understand that in my 10 years of being up here, this is the first Democrat that I've seen run for leadership. It's the first one. Missouri came through, but in a crowded field. I'm just going to say it that way. And when we talk about, there was a mentor, a friend of mine that took me a book to read years ago called Courage Under Fire. There's some courage. This is true courage. And I wanted my little mentee to see that. I have no idea what his thoughts are, what he looks at on social media, but I wanted him to see that. And I want to commend you for it. And I want to commend all of them for doing this because this path shouldn't be an easy one. Because when you truly go through this bumpy road and you cross that finish line, you look at your peers a lot differently. You appreciate that journey a lot more. And I think you serve with a little more selflessness. So with that said, I commend you for it. I truly do want a bottle of water if I'm able to get
Please
one.
have a bottle of water. Thank you, Mr. Past President. Any others? Yep, I'm going to adjourn. Yeah, please, they got agenda. The leadership needs to go to agenda meetings. Please feel free. Thank you for showing up. Are there any others? I have about 2 minutes. Councilman Miller, please.
Just real quick.